Hello YouTube! Whenever I mention my seagoing career, which ran from about 2004 to 2014, people keep saying to me, "Were you in the Navy?" I feel an angry cop's impression coming on. Oh, shirt still fits, trousers don't. So, the Merchant Navy, what is it? Well, first of all, it's not the Royal Navy. The Merchant Navy is basically a collective term for merchant shipping, that is cargo vessels, passenger vessels, ferries, that sort of thing. All the stuff that carries goods and people across the sea. The name Merchant Navy was coined in 1918 by King George V, basically to honour the sort of service and the sacrifice of merchant seamen in the First World War, in which 15,000 sailors lost their lives due primarily to the U-boats attacking merchant shipping. So, it's not the Royal Navy. But yes, there is a uniform, as you can tell, with sort of gold braid and all that. It's loosely based on that of the Royal Navy, but with subtle differences, the most obvious being diamond instead of a curl. Some shipping companies, BP, Holland America Line, do actually have a curl instead of a diamond. Some have just plain stripes, no diamonds at all. Some have diamonds in the middle, some have diamonds at the top. There's a lot of variation between shipping companies, but yeah, the uniform's loosely based on that of the Royal Navy. Depending on the shipping company is how much they go into uniform. Passenger vessels, cruise ships in particular, obviously they want to promote a corporate image and they're in the public eye, so they're big on uniforms. Usually you've got a blue uniform for sort of UK or colder waters, or in Alaska for instance, and you'll have a white tropical uniform for, well, the tropics, you know, Caribbean, Mediterranean, what have you. And certainly on the older established lines like Cunard or P&O, newer, less formal, shall we say, cruise lines that are going for not for the formal black tie market might just go with this, just shirt, rank slides. That's it. That's all you need. Cargo ships tend to be a lot less formal. You might wear a shirt and epaulets for going for dinner, but most of the time you're in your boiler suit anyway. Obviously, working below decks, you tend to be in a boiler suit most of the time. Are there ranks? Well, yes. You've got your officers and you've got ratings. So similar to the Navy in that respect, but different. There's no boot camp. There's none of that marching up and down the square sort of stuff. Basically, to become an officer or a deck or engine officer, you have an apprenticeship, so you'll join as a cadet. You'll spend about 3 years in it's like a sandwich course, so you'll have an amount of time spent at college, and you'll have probably 3 or 4 trips to sea. So you're looking at about 9 months total sea time, possibly more. And you'll get a portfolio of jobs to do and get signed off to say that you're competent to do that work. At the end of all of that, and plus you've got your college course, you've got sea survival, first aid, firefighting. Once you get through all of that, you've got an oral exam with the MCA, who will, if you pass that, you get a certificate of competency. You are now an officer. Which you'll probably start as probably fourth engineer or third mate, depending on whether you go engine or deck, and you can work your way up the ranks to become a second engineer or a chief mate. You have to pass another exam, do more college, and then to be a master or a chief engineer there's even more college, and then you are right at the top of the tree. So the guy right at the top with the 4 stripes, he's the captain, he's the master. Incidentally, the Royal Navy has captains. In the Merchant Navy you're officially a master. Captain is more of a courtesy title. It's not an actual official term. Below the officers you've then got the ratings, who are the workers. So you don't have to sit in an oral exam for that. You basically got to do your sort of sea survival and first aid and firefighting courses, and beyond that depends on what your job is on board. On the deck side you've got ABs, able-bodied seamen, who are, they paint, they work the ropes during berthing manoeuvres, things like that. The head sort of seaman is the boatswain, so he's rated as like a chief petty officer. So he's the foreman basically. In the engine room you've got motormen, who are, again, they do cleaning, painting, labouring jobs, help with watch keeping. You may have a fitter or a machinist, depending on the size of the ship. Small ships, coasters and that, you might have a motorman and that's it. Big cruise ships, you've got plumbers, you've got any number of machinists, you've got carpenters, you've got quite a big crew. So again, horses for courses. Cargo ships have quite small crews, whereas obviously cruise ships have much bigger crews. The hotel department, which is pretty much outside the rank system as far as officers go, you've basically got cooks, stewards, and on a passenger ship probably a purser. When you get to the big cruise ships, that expands massively. On a cargo ship you've probably got maybe 1, 2, 3 guys. On a cruise ship you've got a whole department of cabin stewards and laundrymen and cooks, waiters, and everything else. So most generally deck and engine officers kind of disregard the hotel department as like that's, but they have an important role to play. So yeah, is it like being in the military? No, it's not. It's like any other job. You just happen to have a uniform, but you've got there are certain perks, and there are certain drawbacks to the job. Obviously you go away at sea, and depending on the ship you could be away for 3-4 months at a time. You get to see the world, and again, especially on cruise ships, which I spent quite a lot of my career on. But again, you're away from home, you're away from family, you're away from friends, so swings and roundabouts. Do you get a gun and fight? It's like, it's not the military, but again, potentially, and if you've seen Captain Phillips, there are pirates out there. It can be a dangerous job. If you do end up in war zone, you end up with pirates attacking you. And again, you look at 1982, the Falklands conflict. There were merchant vessels there. There was the Canberra, there was the Atlantic Conveyor, which was sank, and people lost their lives in it. So, in wartime, yes, it can be a dangerous job, but 99% of the time, it's just a job. like any other. So that's it. The Merchant Navy. Yeah, it's ships, shipping. What more to say about it, really? That's it.